Hi there, Primary 6 and 7. We're going to be working today on making some paper sculptures, and we're going to be thinking back to the last couple of weeks when we were looking at the work of the artist Keith Haring. So here's one of his sculptures here, and you can see that the figures are really similar to the kind of figures that you were making last time, and hopefully you've held on to your sort of posable and cardboard figure that we made, because you can use that to help you today. You can notice as you're looking at these how all of the figures are kind of touching in some way. So you're going to be thinking about getting a tall sculpture today, and you're also thinking about how you're going to get them to join together. So we're going to try and join together without using any glue or sellotape or anything like that, just sort of carefully cutting into our sculptures. So that's the first one I thought I'd show you. You get an idea of how big they are, because you can see in the background of this one there's a car, so you can see like even up to the elbow it looks like it's, you know, not quite as high as the car, and the building in the background gives you an idea of the size. Let's look at the next one. This one here might be a reproduction, but you can see it just gives you an idea of what the sculpture would be like. So there's two figures joined together in a, I was going to say a similar pose, but it's actually quite different pose. I think it's just because the arms are out, it makes it feel that they're both quite symmetrical. Okay, and here is another one. So this one has got a few different things, a few different figures, 1, 2, 3, 4 figures on there, plus we've got the dog at the bottom, the jackal I think maybe at the bottom, and they're kind of like almost like slipped onto each other. So you can imagine how you could make those kind of joins if you were working in card. You can see actually that they've been riveted together. You can see that on the photograph there. And you can also have a look and see how the legs have been put on to make sure that it's strengthened a little bit as well on the sort of dog at the bottom here. So we're going to have a little look and see how we can create our own sculpture. I'd like you to really think about height. So I want you to get it as tall as you possibly can. That's your challenge today. And if you've got coloured paper, you can use that to help you. But if you don't have coloured paper, don't worry about it. You can use sort of coloured pen or paint, or just leave them white if you want to, or whatever colour your cardboard is. Okay, let's have a look and see how we're going to go about this today. So the first thing you really want to think about is to get your posable figure out. Let's get them organised there, get them organised, and think about how you're going to join them together. Are they going to be holding each other up, maybe with their arms up? They could maybe be interlinking hands up here, or they could be upside down, so they could be almost like doing a handstand, and you could be joining the feet together. You could be linking the arms together. It's really up to you. So I want you to have a really good think about that before you start posing your figures. I've got some figures here that I have cut out, and all I've used is a cereal box. Some of the figures I've stuck paper on that I had, some coloured paper, and I just glued that on with a Pritt stick onto the cereal box, and then I cut it out afterwards, so you can see on the other side it's just cereal. So you might want to do that if you've got some, and Keith Haring often worked in the primary colours, so if you have got red, yellow, blue, that would be great, but if not, just use whatever you've got, and if you don't have any bright colours, then that's okay too. So I'm just going to take those away for now, and so your first thing you would do really is think about making some of your figures. So I've got, get this one in blue, I've got a figure here, and once I've made it, you don't have to repeat it, but I have actually just drawn around it and made it a few times. I'm going to use that as the base for my sculpture. So I want to get it as tall as possible, and I want a really strong base, so I wanted to make sure at the base that I had 2 points. So if I was using this one for the base, it wouldn't be quite as strong because it's just got 1 point and this one's higher up. But I could always have had it upside down and had them joined. You know, this could have been the part that touches the ground. So you need to just, or I could have had it that way around. As long as I would say try and get 2 pieces touching the ground just to really help you. So I've got these 3 here, these 3 pieces, and I'm going to try and get them to stand up and all connect together. So I suppose one thing we need to learn a little bit about is joining cardboard pieces together by cutting slots. So I've cut a slot in here about, if I bring this a bit closer, you can maybe see it halfway up. Don't go too far to start with. You can always cut a little bit more and a little bit more. But if you cut too far to start with, it can maybe be a bit weak and a bit loose. So I've cut about halfway up from underneath on this one, which means on this one here, I'm going to cut the opposite way. I'm going to cut it from the top down. If your cardboard's really thick, you might need to do another snip beside that to make a thicker bit that you're taking out, but I don't really need that on here. So let's just see. I'm going to get on here. So hopefully that one should connect in like that. And that's, oh, actually standing already, so that's a really good start. So you can see how they're joining. And it looks really good if you get different colours joining together there. You know, if I'd done them all blue, it might not look so good. My next one, this one is cut from underneath, which means I'm going to cut this one down from the top. And you really have to think about the angle. Like, I don't want to cut it that way. I want to cut it down the way. So imagine it's standing up and cutting down into it. Just really think about your angle, because that will change how your sculpture sits together. So we'll see how that's going to work. So just joining these together, just slip them through. And if they're not quite working, oops, that's not bad, you might need to trim a little bit more. So I don't want to cut any more in this one because it's getting a wee bit loose there. So on round here, and these don't have any cut out of them so far, so I'm going to cut a little bit from the bottom of this one, and then from the top of this hand, going down the way, and see if we can slot those together. And then we should have a fairly sturdy base to our sculpture. I'm just wondering how that's looking for you, if you can see that okay. If I just show you how it looks from this angle. Okay, so you can see it's quite sturdy. I think we can get some more things built on top of that. I've also got the option of having it like this, which actually I think might work quite well, having it upside down. So I might go for that. And I'm just wondering if I want to join together some of these legs, these feet, so that I can make it a bit sturdier and a bit stronger. So I think I'm going to do that just now, and then I'm going to add on some other pieces and see if I can get it to grow a bit higher. So just to get these feet joined together, same again really, just a cut and a cut from the bottom, and then slip them in together. I'm sure we've maybe done something like this in class before, where we've been making paper sculptures. So into there, so that one's from the bottom, so this one needs to come the opposite way from the top. And if, like this one, those foot aren't quite the same level, I can just give that a bit of a trim so they stand nicely. And this one has already got a cut because I was using it for something else. So that one's cut from the bottom, so I better cut this one from the top. Join those two together like so. And there we go. So I've got them now. I can either have them all doing kind of handstands, which I think looks more fun, or I could have them all standing up. I'm going to go for the handstands, so they're all doing handstands. And then what I need to do is try and add on some other figures and see what I can get them to do to kind of make this even taller. So I've got a couple here of figures, which again, I was just using these for something else and having a play around. So they've got some bits cut already. And I think what I'm going to try and do is see how I can get these to join on. So I might try and get one going across here. So if I hold it like that, you might be able to see it better. One maybe going across like this, and then another one, I'll see if I can get it to join on top of this green one. So just takes a bit of planning and thinking. For this one, I don't know if I'll need to cut. I'm not going to cut into there just yet. Ooh. Yeah, so if I do a little snip into here, this stops them moving about. Even though this one sits on quite well, it stops them slipping if you've got a double cut. So it's a bit tricky to get it on, and I don't want to rip it. There we go. Ah, brilliant. So now when that's cut on like that, that's actually standing independently, so it's got nothing holding it up there. So suppose I'm thinking now about the weight of my sculpture. If I put something over, oh, it was standing independently, hold on, falling off. If I did have something on there, on this side, it would fall down a little bit. So that's one part on. And I'm thinking I might have something here and have them so that these two parts can support each other. So I don't want this leg up on its own, or I could have this part here and have these two legs holding each other up that way. So I've got a decision to make which one I think would work best. So I either have it up like this and then kicking it the other way, or I can have them round this way and joining in there. I think I'm going to go for this way round, because I think they'll hold together a bit better. So I'm just checking how well you can see what I'm doing here. I think I might move the camera down. I'm actually going to just keep the camera up because there's not enough room to show it properly. So I'm going to cut in here. So once you get the hang of making these little cuts, so that one's cut from the top. This one's already been trimmed, so I'm just going to cut it into there. So we're going to cut and join those two slots together. And it's just about getting your sculpture to be as strong as possible. Take this red one off for a second till I get the green one on. Let's open it up a little bit. There we go, that's it. So that's my green part on, and then I'm going to just rejoin on the red piece, and they're going to join together in here somehow, one way or the other. So I'm going to do that now. I'm just going to cut through the leg there, and I just want to see where it's going to cut on my other side. Okay, and I can see now that this one needs to cut about here, and then join those two together, and hopefully it shouldn't be too wobbly. See if I can get these two joined in. Oh. Okay, let's have a little look. You can see my sculpture is quite tall here, But I've moved it there, and I'm sure you can guess why, because if I move it out, it's a wee bit unbalanced. So sometimes it stands, but it's quite heavy over here because it's being weighed out. So what I think I need to do is make another figure here and put something onto this side to see if I can get that to balance out. So I'm going to cut something else, another figure, put onto here and see if we can get a bit of a better balance. Maybe if I had something joined on there, and I might be able to join it onto the hands as well and see if we can get a really good balance going. But I'm quite pleased with the height. Might be able to go even higher, but let's see if we can get it really stable. It's a bit like Jenga, you know, you don't want to build on too many more pieces if you're not feeling that it's stable as it is. So I'm just going to add on my next piece, and I think I'm going to try and get it to hold in two different places. If I tip it that way, it's maybe easier for you to see. So rather than, I could just hold it on maybe by the head here, but I'd like it to be on two ways, and then it's a bit more stable. So I can see I need to cut in here where the hand is, and on the other hand. So if I make a snip in here, and this bit's already got a snip in it actually, so that's quite handy. And then I'll cut in here and here, and see if I can get these to stand up and balance really well. And then if it did, I could always think about adding on a third level. See how this holds first. So, oh, this one's, oh no, it stayed in, that's good. Oh, amazing. So that's really balanced out, and it's much, much more stable. So if I'd done this all in colour, it would have looked really much better. But that's definitely able to have an extra person added onto it. So I'm going to show you that from the side, so you can see what it looks like. Okay, so there you can see how it's all joining together. And I just hold this so you can see. I should be able to turn it around and it shouldn't fall over. Yep, it's quite stable. So your idea is to see how tall you could get this to be. Possibly I could have joined together these two bits to make it a bit stronger again. But I'm just going to leave it like that for the moment. So good luck with your Keith Haring sculpture. It's about making it tall, and it's about making it really stable as well, so you have to think about that. Please try and build it up without using any sellotape, without using any glue. And the good thing about doing that is that you can then take it all apart and it stores, you know, flat, and then you could maybe even take it apart and try and position it on in completely different ways. You know, you could have your bottom figures flipped over and standing upwards rather than doing their headstands. Okay, good luck with that. Please share your results and let's see how you get on.